حي على الفلاح.
Alif Lam Mim. The Romans have been defeated in the near land, and they, after their defeat, will be victorious within 10 years. Allah's is the command in the former case and in the latter, and in that day believers will rejoice. In this episode of Quran and Science, we will go through what and where is the lowest place on earth, as the Quran correctly pointed them all out. The Quran tells us in an era when no man had got the knowledge to measure the lowest point on the surface of the earth, the Dead Sea. But before we jump into the facts fully backed by the Quran, let's talk simply about what and where is the Dead Sea. Located between Jordan, Israel, the West Bank, and Palestine, the Dead Sea is one of the most unique places on earth. With its high mineral and salt content, the Dead Sea is too salty to support most forms of animal and plant life. Fed by the Jordan River with no connection to the world's oceans, it is really more lake than a sea. But because the fresh water feeding it soon evaporates, it has a salt concentration 7 times greater than that of the ocean. The only life that can survive these conditions are tiny microbes. The Dead Sea has been a study for millennia. The waters of the Dead Sea are often used in soaps and cosmetics. The Dead Sea is also a critical site in the 1940s and the 1950s. Now, in further history, the Dead Sea Basin was a place where the Romans were defeated by the Persians. The Lake of Lut region, which is the lowest region of the world, about 395 meters below the sea level. The altitude of the Dead Sea could only be determined with modern measurement techniques. These measurements led to the discovery that this region is indeed the lowest region on the earth. Indeed, Allah said in the Quran, in chapter 30, verses 1 to 4, Alif Lam Mim. The Romans have been defeated in the near land, and they, after their defeat, will be victorious within 10 years. Allah's is the command in the former case and in the latter, and in that day believers will rejoice. These verses were revealed around 620 CE, almost 7 years after the severe defeat of the Christian Byzantines at the hands of the idolater Persians in 613 to 614 CE. Yet it was related in the verses that the Byzantines would shortly be victorious. In fact, Byzantine had been so heavily defeated that it seemed impossible for the empire to even maintain its very existence, let alone be victorious again. These words from Allah are truly a miracle, as well as a prophecy of the glorious Quran. As we know, there are many prophecies in the Quran where the various future events are mentioned and has already achieved. It ought to be noted that no prophecy of the Quran has been incorrect. Another astonishing miracle revealed in the 3rd verse of the Romans. It was mentioned that the Romans were defeated in the lowest land. Significantly, the places where the main battles took place in Damascus and Jerusalem lie in a vast area of low-lying land called the Great Rift Valley. The Great Rift Valley is a huge 5,000-kilometer fault line in the Earth's crust that runs from the northern Syria in the Middle East of Asia to central Mozambique and East Africa. The northernmost extension runs through Syria, Lebanon, Palestine, and Jordan. The rift extends south to the Gulf of Aden, makes its way through East Africa, then finally ends at the lower Zambezi River Valley in Mozambique. An interesting fact that has been discovered recently, with the help of satellite images, is that the area around the Dead Sea, located in the Great Rift Valley, has the lowest altitude on Earth. In fact, the lowest point on Earth is the shoreline of the Dead Sea, with an altitude of around 400 meters below sea level. The fact that it lies at the lowest point means that water does not drain from the sea. No land point on Earth has a lower altitude than the shoreline of the Dead Sea. The areas around the Dead Sea have been quite literally termed as the lowest in the glorious Quran. This conforms with a geological fact discovered much later in the modern era, when geologists found this region to have the lowest degree of latitude. Now, the prophecy as well as the mention of the area around the Dead Sea being the most low-lying region, as given in the Quran, has been explained also by Yahya Harun as follows. In short, everyone was expecting Byzantium to be destroyed, but during this time, the first verses of Surah Ar-Rum were revealed, announcing that Byzantium would triumph in 3 to 9 years. This predicted victory seemed so impossible that the Arab polytheists thought it would never come true. Just like revealed in these verses is the announcement of a geographical fact that could not have been known by anyone at that time. The Romans had been defeated in the lowest region of the earth. This Arabic expression, Adna, al-Ard, is interpreted as a nearby place in many translations. However, this is not the literal meaning, but rather a figurative interpretation. The word Adna, derived from the word Dani, means the lowest. The word Ard means the world, therefore Adna al-Ard means the lowest place on the earth. Some interpreters of the Quran, considering the closeness of this region to the Arabs, prefer using the term closest instead of lowest in the translation. However, the actual and literal meaning lowest indicates a very important geological fact. The Dead Sea, one of the regions in which the Byzantines were defeated in 613 to 614, is the lowest region on Earth. So now, if we consider the entire universe, even then these verses should prove right in the same way. The only thing that comes in mind immediately is whether this planet Earth fulfills the verdict of verse 2 of the surah. For this, it should pass the test of both the meanings that the word Adna has within it. Now, as for the first meaning of Adna, nearest, for us humans, this planet Earth is always the nearest place because it is our birthplace. Now, for the second meaning, lowest, we need to understand again that on macro scale on this universe, everything is relative. And because we human beings have originated on planet Earth, and from here, whatever we see or go in this universe, mathematically, our starting and 0 point will be this Earth, which numerically is the lowest as compared to the destination where we would reach. Further, this is the place which as our birthplace is under our feet, and the lowest, while all other places are far and above when we see from the earth. Lastly, as per Holy Scriptures, like Bible and Quran, we live in a universe which exists in the first heaven, while there are other heavens which are called second, third, and as per Quran, 7 heavens. The remaining 6 heavens are above us, thus the lowest point also, if we consider all the world, universes, as per holy scriptures, as well as modern science. Now let's analyze the words. Dana, that is Dani, he was or became weak, contemptible, low, ignoble, bad, or foul, not profitable to anyone. Dan means near, close, draw, or hanging low, or draw close, as in nearest or lowest, former, first, and foremost, low, inferior, worse, veil, closer. Adna, that is nearer and nearest, opposed to Aqsa, former, first and foremost, more near or suitable, less in number or quantity, and least therein, worst and most low, base or weak. Dunya is feminine of Adna, that is near, within reach, present life, or world. Now only modern measuring methods and equipments can prove this fact. It would have been impossible for anyone living at that time to realize this truth. Yet the Quran states clearly that this region was the lowest land on earth. Therefore, it becomes very clear that the country or prefecture which occupies the Rift Valley in the vicinity of the Dead Sea is what is meant in the Quran by the lowest land. This is a true miracle of the Quran, because no one could have known or foreseen such a fact in the 7th century due to the fact that satellites and modern-day technology were not available at that time. Once again, the only possible explanation is that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ had truly received divine revelations from God, the creator and originator of the universe.